This is the story of Sarah Mitchell, a woman who discovered her husband was having an affair with his secretary. But instead of falling apart, she planned the most calculated revenge I've ever heard of. She waited. She documented. She prepared. And then, on the day her ex-husband married his mistress, she walked into that wedding, smiled at everyone, and said one sentence that brought their entire celebration crashing down. Because what the happy couple didn't know was that Sarah had been funding their entire luxury lifestyle, and she'd just canceled everything. Before I tell you how Sarah destroyed her cheating ex-husband's wedding with a single sentence, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for Story Matrix Hub. Because this story has more strategic revenge, more financial devastation, and more satisfying justice than you can imagine. You're going to want to hear every detail. Now let me tell you about Sarah, the woman who turned a broken heart into the most epic takedown I've ever witnessed. Sarah Mitchell was 34 years old when her world fell apart. She'd been married to David Mitchell for 9 years, together for 12. Everyone who knew them called them the perfect couple. Sarah was a successful corporate lawyer at one of Chicago's top firms. Smart, driven, beautiful. She made partner at 32, which was practically unheard of. She was pulling in $450,000 a year, working 70-hour weeks, living and breathing her cases. David was different. He was an elementary school art teacher. Kind, creative, patient with kids. He made $48,000 a year teaching third graders how to paint and draw. Everyone loved Mr. Mitchell, the fun teacher who made learning enjoyable. They'd met in college. Sarah was pre-law, David was getting his teaching degree. She was immediately drawn to his kindness, his gentleness. He wasn't intimidated by her ambition like other guys were. He supported her dreams. "You're going to be an amazing lawyer," he'd tell her. "I'm so proud of you." They got married right after graduation. Small wedding, courthouse ceremony, just family and close friends. They were young and in love and broke, but happy. Over the years, Sarah's career took off. She climbed the ladder fast: associate, senior associate, junior partner, then full partner. Her income grew exponentially. David's income stayed the same. $48,000 year after year. Teachers don't get rich. But it never bothered either of them. Or so Sarah thought. They lived in a beautiful house in Lincoln Park, $1.2 million, which Sarah had bought outright with her bonuses. They drove nice cars. Sarah had a BMW. David drove a Tesla Model 3 that Sarah had given him for his birthday. They took vacations to Europe every summer. They had a cleaning service, ate at nice restaurants, had season tickets to the Cubs. All of it was funded by Sarah's income. David's teacher salary barely covered groceries. But again, it never seemed to be an issue. David was grateful. He'd thank her constantly. "I'm so lucky to have you. I could never afford this life without you." "We're a team," Sarah would say. "What's mine is yours." She meant it. She loved David. She was proud to support them both. She never made him feel small about the income disparity. Or at least she tried not to. Looking back, she'd realized there were signs. Small things she'd missed. David started going to the gym more. Lost 20 pounds. Started dressing better, button-downs instead of t-shirts, nice jeans instead of his usual khakis. "You look good," Sarah told him one day. "I like this new look." "Thanks. Just trying to take better care of myself." He started going out more with the guys from work. "Teacher happy hours," he'd say. Once a week turned into twice a week, then 3 times. "You're going out a lot lately," Sarah mentioned one night. "Just trying to have a social life. You're always working late anyway." That stung. But he wasn't wrong. She was working late. Constantly. That's what being a partner meant. Even longer hours than before. "You're right. I'm sorry. I'll try to be home more." "Don't apologize for your career, Sarah. I'm proud of you. I'm just saying, since you're busy, I might as well see my friends." Made sense. She let it go. Then there was his phone. David had always been casual about his phone. Left it lying around, didn't care if Sarah used it. But suddenly he was protective. Changed his passcode. Took it everywhere, even to the bathroom. "Why'd you change your passcode?" Sarah asked casually. "Did I? I don't remember doing that. Must have done it by accident." Lie. But Sarah didn't push. She trusted David. They'd been together for 12 years. He was her person. In March, 6 months before everything exploded, Sarah had to go to London for a 3-week trial. Big case, huge client, make or break for her career. "I'm going to miss you," David said at the airport. 3 weeks is so long. "I know. But it's important." I'll call you every night. I love you, Sarah. I love you too. While Sarah was in London, working 18-hour days, David was in Chicago, doing something else entirely. She'd find out later that those 3 weeks were when the affair really escalated. When it went from emotional to physical, from texts to hotel rooms, from fantasy to reality. The woman's name was Amanda Brooks, 26 years old, secretary at David's school, blonde, bubbly young. She'd started working there 8 months earlier. David and Amanda had been spending more and more time together. Planning school events, David would say. Working on the art show. But they weren't planning events. They were falling in love. Or at least, that's what David would claim later. That he fell in love. That it just happened. That he didn't mean to hurt anyone. Sarah came back from London exhausted but triumphant. She'd won the case. Saved the client millions. Her firm was thrilled. "I'm so proud of you," David said, hugging her at the airport. "You're amazing." She believed him. Why wouldn't she? 2 weeks later, on a random Tuesday evening in April, Sarah came home early from work. She'd had a migraine, which was rare. Decided to leave at 6 p.m. instead of her usual 9 or 10. When she walked into their house, she heard sounds from upstairs. Music. Laughing. A woman's voice. Her first thought was that David had a friend over. Maybe a coworker. She walked upstairs. The sounds were coming from their bedroom. She opened the door. David was in their bed. With Amanda. They were naked, tangled in sheets that Sarah had bought from Restoration Hardware, in a bed Sarah had paid for, in a house Sarah owned. Amanda screamed. David's face went white. "Sarah! Get out," Sarah said. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "Both of you. Get out of my house." "Sarah, please let me explain." "Get out." Amanda grabbed her clothes and ran. David tried to approach Sarah, still naked, pathetic. "Don't touch me. Get dressed and get out. This is my house too." "No. It's not. My name is on the deed. Mine alone. This is my house. Get out before I call the police." David got dressed. Fast. Grabbed his phone, his wallet. "Sarah, please, we need to talk about this." "No. We don't. You need to leave." "Where am I supposed to go?" "I don't care." "Amanda's apartment. A hotel. The street." "I don't care." "Sarah. Go." He left. Sarah stood in her bedroom, looking at her ruined bed, and felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness. Nothing. She was numb. Then she walked downstairs, poured herself a large glass of wine, and called her best friend Emma. "Hey, what's up? I just caught David cheating on me. In our bed." Silence. Then, "I'm coming over. Don't move." Emma arrived 20 minutes later with more wine and ice cream. They sat on Sarah's couch, the couch Sarah had paid for, and Emma just held her while she finally cried. "I gave him everything," Sarah sobbed. "Everything. This house, the car, the life. And he cheated on me with a 26-year-old secretary. He's an idiot. A complete idiot. I trusted him, Em. I thought we were happy." "I know, honey. I know." After an hour of crying, something shifted in Sarah. The sadness hardened into something else. Something cold and calculating. "I'm going to destroy him," she said quietly. Emma looked at her. "What? David wants to throw away 9 years of marriage for a girl barely out of college? Fine. But he's going to lose everything. Sarah. Everything I gave him, everything I paid for, every luxury he's enjoyed because of MY money gone. All of it. I'm taking it back. I support whatever you want to do. What do you need from me?" Sarah smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. A divorce lawyer. The best one you know. The next day, David tried to come home. Sarah had already changed the locks. He called her. 37 times. She didn't answer. He texted. "Sarah, please. Let me explain. It was a mistake. I love you. Please don't do this." She blocked his number. He showed up at her office. Her assistant wouldn't let him past reception. Finally, he sent an email. "Sarah, I'm sorry. I made a terrible mistake. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. I love you. Please give me another chance. We've been together for 12 years. That has to mean something." Sarah read the email once. Then she replied, "David, you're right. 12 years means something. It means I know exactly what you value and what you'll miss. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. Sarah." 3 days later, David was served with divorce papers. And that's when he realized just how badly he'd screwed up. Because Sarah wasn't just divorcing him. She was systematically dismantling the life she'd built for them. And David was about to lose absolutely everything. Sarah hired Catherine Walsh, the most aggressive divorce lawyer in Chicago. Catherine had a reputation for absolutely destroying cheating spouses, especially men who'd been living off their wives' money. "Tell me everything," Catherine said at their first meeting. Sarah laid it all out. 9 years of marriage. Her income versus David's. The house, the cars, the lifestyle. All funded by her. "What's in his name?" Catherine asked. "Nothing. The house is in my name only. I bought it before we married and never added him to the deed. His Tesla is technically in my name. I bought it for him but registered it to me for tax purposes. Our bank accounts are joint, but I can prove every dollar came from my income." "Good. That makes this easier. Illinois is an equitable distribution state, which means assets acquired during the marriage are typically split fairly. But in this case, you can make a strong argument that everything was your separate property since you earned it. I want him to get nothing. Legally, he might be entitled to something, but we can minimize it significantly. What about alimony? He's going to ask for it, isn't he? Probably. He's the lower-earning spouse. In a 9-year marriage, he could potentially get temporary alimony." Sarah's jaw clenched. "I'm not paying him a dime to support his life with his mistress. Then we fight it. We document the affair. We show he's capable of working. We argue that the income disparity was a choice. He chose to be a teacher. You didn't prevent him from earning more. We make it ugly." "Good. Make it as ugly as possible." Catherine smiled. "I like you. Let's destroy him." David hired a lawyer too, a guy named Richard Chun, who specialized in protecting the rights of lower-income spouses. Translation: getting money from successful wives for cheating husbands. Richard filed a motion for temporary support. David needed $5,000 a month to maintain his accustomed lifestyle, while the divorce was pending. Sarah laughed when she read it. "Accustomed lifestyle? The lifestyle I gave him." "Unfortunately, yes," Catherine said. "He got used to living in a nice house, driving a nice car, eating at nice restaurants. The court might grant temporary support. Can we fight it? We can try. I'll argue he's living with his girlfriend, so he has shared expenses. I'll argue he's employed full-time and capable of supporting himself. But Sarah, you need to prepare for the possibility that you might have to pay him something during the divorce. Over my dead body." But the judge sided with David. Temporary support. $3,500 per month until the divorce was finalized. Sarah was furious. She was literally paying David to live with Amanda. "Use it," Catherine advised. "Use this anger. We're going to make sure this is the last money he ever sees from you." While the divorce was pending, Sarah started documenting everything. She hired a private investigator to follow David and Amanda. Document where they went, what they did, how much they spent. Turns out, David was taking Amanda to all the places he used to go with Sarah. The restaurants they'd discovered together. The wine bar where they'd had their first date anniversary every year. Even the hotel in Michigan where they'd spent their honeymoon. "He's literally replacing me with her," Sarah told Emma. "Same dates, same places, same life. Just a younger model. He's pathetic. And unoriginal." The private investigator also discovered something interesting. David and Amanda were already talking about marriage. He told her he'd marry her the second the divorce was final, the investigator reported. "I have them on audio discussing the wedding. She wants a big celebration, invited all their friends." "When?" Sarah asked. "She's pushing for October. 6 months from now. Doesn't want to wait." Sarah smiled slowly. "October. Perfect. Perfect for what?" Emma asked after the investigator left. "An idea I'm having. But I need to think it through first." The divorce process was brutal. David fought for everything. He wanted half the house. Catherine shut that down by proving it was Sarah's separate property purchased before marriage. He wanted the Tesla. Catherine argued Sarah bought it as a gift and it was registered in her name, so it remained Sarah's property. He wanted half of Sarah's retirement accounts. Catherine showed that Sarah had significantly more in retirement before the marriage, so only the growth during marriage would be split. Every single asset, David fought for it. And every time he lost. "Your client seems to think he's entitled to the wealth his wife earned while he was cheating on her," Catherine said coldly to Richard Chun in one mediation session. "My client contributed to the marriage in non-financial ways," Richard argued. "He maintained the home, he supported Sarah's career. He maintained the home. They had a cleaning service that Sarah paid for. He supported her career? by sleeping with his secretary while she was in London working. The mediator had to call a break. Finally, after 4 months of fighting, they reached a settlement. David would get $75,000 as a one-time settlement payment. That's it. No house, no car, no ongoing alimony. Nothing else. That's practically nothing. Richard protested. Your client cheated on a woman who supported him financially for nearly a decade, Catherine said. He's lucky he's getting anything. Take the deal or we go to trial, and I will air every detail of his affair in open court. Every text message, every hotel room, every time he used Sarah's money to buy Amanda dinner. Is that really what you want? David took the deal. The divorce was finalized in August. After 12 years together, Sarah and David Mitchell were no longer married. Sarah felt relief, and anger, and determination, because the divorce was just the beginning. A week after the divorce was finalized, Sarah got interesting information from her private investigator. David and Amanda have set a wedding date. October 12th, small ceremony, about 60 guests at a boutique hotel downtown. Are you sure? Positive. I have the venue contract, the guest list, everything. Sarah stared at the documents. David was marrying Amanda exactly 5 months after their divorce. He was replacing her that quickly. What's the budget? Sarah asked. $45,000. Pretty modest by wedding standards, but nice. How's David paying for it? The investigator smiled. That's the interesting part. He's not. According to financial records I was able to access, Amanda's parents are paying for most of it. But David's contributing about $15,000. Where'd he get $15,000? He took his settlement money and paid off debts. Credit cards. He's got 3 cards with significant balances. And here's where it gets interesting. The investigator pulled out more documents. 2 of those cards are authorized user cards. They're still attached to your accounts. Sarah blinked. What? Remember when you added David as an authorized user years ago? For emergencies, you said? You never removed him. He's still got cards tied to your accounts. But I'm not responsible for his charges now that we're divorced, right? Actually, you are. As long as he's an authorized user, you're liable for the debt. He could charge $100,000 and you'd be legally responsible. Sarah felt her blood pressure rise. He's using my credit to pay for his wedding to his mistress? Looks like it. That plus a Tesla you gave him that's still registered in your name, plus he's been using your Amazon Prime account, your Netflix, your Spotify, basically everything you used to share, he's still using. Can I cancel the authorized user status? Absolutely. You can do it today. Cut off all his access. Sarah thought about it. No, not yet. Why not? Because I want him to use those cards. I want him to plan this whole wedding thinking he has my credit available. And then, at the perfect moment, I want to take it all away. Emma was horrified when Sarah told her the plan. You're going to cancel his cards at the wedding? Right before the wedding. When they're about to pay vendors, when they need the money most. I want them to realize at the worst possible moment that they have nothing. Sarah, that's brutal. He used my money to wine and dine his mistress while we were married. He's using my credit to pay for his wedding to her. He deserves brutal. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, this is going to destroy them. Sarah smiled coldly. Good. For the next 2 months, Sarah watched from a distance as David and Amanda planned their wedding. The investigator kept her updated on every detail. They'd booked a venue, the Langham Hotel, rooftop ceremony, beautiful views of Chicago. They'd hired a photographer, a DJ, a florist. Sent out invitations. Planned a honeymoon to Bali. And David was charging thousands of dollars to the credit cards he still had access to. Deposits for vendors, his wedding suit, Amanda's bridal shower, bachelor party expenses. He's up to $12,000 in charges, the investigator reported in late September. Perfect. Let him keep going. The week before the wedding, Sarah made her move. She called every credit card company. I need to remove an authorized user from my account. Immediately. Can I ask why? One rep asked. He's my ex-husband. We're divorced. He shouldn't have access to my credit anymore. Oh, yes, absolutely. I'll remove him right away. Within 24 hours, all of David's authorized user cards were canceled. But Sarah wasn't done. The Tesla, the car she'd given David, that was still registered in her name. She called the Tesla dealership. I need to report my car stolen. Stolen? Are you sure? Yes. Someone took my Tesla. I don't know where it is. Technically true, She didn't know where it was at that exact moment. It was registered in her name, so legally it was her car. Tesla remotely disabled the car that afternoon. David called Sarah for the first time in months, furious. "What did you do to my car?" "My car. It's registered to me. I reported it stolen since it wasn't in my possession." "That's insane. You gave it to me. As a gift during our marriage. But we're divorced now, and the car is in my name. You want a car, buy one yourself." "Sarah, please. The wedding is in 4 days. I need that car. Then I suggest you call an Uber." He hung up on her. 3 days before the wedding, David tried to use his credit cards. Declined. All of them. He called Sarah again. "You canceled my cards? They were authorized user cards on my accounts. You're no longer authorized. We're divorced. You're doing this on purpose. The wedding is in 3 days. Then you better figure something out. Good luck, David." This time, she hung up on him. David was panicking. He called everyone he knew, trying to borrow money. He opened new credit cards with his own name, but his credit score was poor, so the limits were low. He scrambled to pay vendors, reassuring them that everything would be fine. Amanda's parents covered some costs, but they'd already paid for most of the wedding. They couldn't cover David's share too. The wedding was still happening, barely. But David and Amanda were stressed, fighting, terrified that something else would go wrong. They had no idea that Sarah had one more move to make. Because Sarah had gotten an invitation to their wedding. Amanda had sent one as a bizarre peace offering. "No hard feelings," she'd written on the card. "We'd love for you to celebrate with us." The audacity was stunning. But Sarah had RSVP'd yes. Because she was absolutely going to that wedding. And she was going to say one sentence that would make everything even worse. October 12th arrived. The day David and Amanda were getting married. Sarah woke up at 8 a.m., went for a run, had coffee, and got ready slowly. She took her time choosing an outfit. A stunning red dress, elegant but definitely attention-grabbing. Not white, not bridal. She wasn't trying to upstage the bride. But red. Powerful. Confident. "You look incredible," Emma said when she picked Sarah up. "Are you sure you want to do this?" "Absolutely." "What exactly are you planning?" "You'll see." They arrived at the Langham at 4:30 p.m., half an hour before the ceremony. The rooftop was beautiful. White flowers everywhere, chairs set up in perfect rows, Chicago skyline in the background. Sarah checked in with the coordinator. "Sarah Mitchell, +1. The coordinator's eyes widened when she saw the name. "Oh, yes, you're on the list. Right this way." They were seated 3 rows from the back. Sarah had a perfect view of everything. Guests filtered in. People Sarah recognized, David's family, his co-workers from school, some mutual friends who'd clearly chosen his side. They all did double takes when they saw Sarah. "Is that? Why is she here? This is so awkward." David's mother actually came over. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" "I was invited," Sarah said pleasantly. "Amanda sent me an invitation. I thought it would be rude not to come. This is inappropriate. You should leave." "Mrs. Mitchell, I have every right to be here. I RSVP'd. My name is on the guest list. If David and Amanda didn't want me here, they shouldn't have invited me." David's mother walked away, flustered. At 4:58 p.m., the music started. The wedding party walked down the aisle. Amanda's bridesmaids in blush pink dresses. David's groomsmen in gray suits. Then David appeared, walking to the altar with the officiant. He looked nervous. Stressed. He kept tugging at his collar. He scanned the crowd, and his eyes landed on Sarah. His face went white. She smiled and waved. He looked like he might be sick. At 5 p.m. exactly, the bridal march began. Everyone stood. Amanda appeared at the back of the aisle with her father. She looked beautiful, there was no denying it. White dress, blonde hair and perfect curls, beaming smile. She started walking down the aisle. Then she saw Sarah. Her smile faltered. Just for a second, but Sarah saw it. Sarah smiled wider. The ceremony began. The officiant talked about love, commitment, partnership. About David and Amanda's journey together. About overcoming obstacles to be together. Sarah wanted to laugh. Obstacles? The obstacle was Sarah's marriage. That's what they'd overcome. "If anyone objects to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace." Sarah stayed quiet. That wasn't her plan. Too obvious, too dramatic. "David, do you take Amanda to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do." "Amanda, do you take David to be your lawfully wedded husband?" "I do. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife." You may kiss the bride. They kissed. Everyone applauded. Sarah clapped along, smiling. David and Amanda walked back down the aisle as husband and wife. They both very carefully avoided looking at Sarah. Cocktail hour was on a lower terrace. Open bar, past hors d'oeuvres jazz music. Sarah got a glass of champagne and mingled. This is so awkward, Emma whispered. Everyone is staring at you. Let them stare. David's cousin approached her. Sarah, I just want to say, I think it's really mature of you to be here. To support David despite everything. Oh, I'm very supportive, Sarah said with a smile. At 6:30 p.m., they moved to the reception ballroom. Dinner, toasts, dancing. Sarah and Emma were seated at a table in the back, as far from the head table as possible. The DJ announced the entrance of the newlyweds. David and Amanda came in to cheers and applause. First dance, father-daughter dance, mother-son dance. Everything proceeded normally. Dinner was served. Expensive steak, salmon, all the nice touches. Sarah noticed David and Amanda whispering to each other frequently. They looked tense. After dinner came the toasts. Best man, maid of honor, parents. Everyone talked about how perfect David and Amanda were together, how happy they were, how this was meant to be. Sarah sipped her champagne and waited. At 8:15 p.m., there was a commotion at the entrance. The wedding coordinator was talking urgently to Amanda's father. He looked upset. He pulled Amanda aside. Sarah watched, interested. Amanda's face went from happy to confused to panicked. She pulled David over. They had a hushed, heated conversation. Then David's face went white again. He pulled out his phone, made a call. He was gesturing wildly, clearly angry. Sarah smiled. It was starting. What's happening? Emma asked. Just watch. At 8:30 p.m., the music stopped. The DJ looked confused. The coordinator was on the phone, looking stressed. Amanda was crying. David was yelling at someone on his phone. Guests started murmuring. What's going on? Is everything okay? At 8:45 p.m., David and Amanda approached the microphone together. David looked like he'd aged 10 years in the past hour. Hi everyone, he said, voice strained. We're having a small situation. There's been a misunderstanding with some payments. We're working to resolve it. Just please bear with us. Confused applause. Sarah stood up. She walked toward the head table. Everyone watched her. The room went silent. David saw her approaching. Sarah, what are you doing? She smiled at him. Then she turned to the room full of guests. Hi everyone. I'm Sarah Mitchell, sorry, Sarah Collins. I took my maiden name back. I'm David's ex-wife. People shifted uncomfortably. I just wanted to clear up this misunderstanding David mentioned. You see, David's been having some financial trouble today. His credit cards were declined. His car was disabled. He's scrambling to pay vendors. Amanda was crying harder now. Why are you doing this? Because everything David's had for the past 9 years, the house, the car, the lifestyle, the money, I paid for it. All of it. And when he decided to cheat on me with you, Amanda, he lost access to all of it. Gasps from the guests. I canceled the credit cards David was using. My credit cards that he was still an authorized user on 3 days ago. The Tesla he's been driving? Still in my name. I reported it stolen. And this wedding? Parts of it were being paid for with my money. My credit. For a wedding celebrating the affair that destroyed my marriage. Sarah looked directly at David. You wanted to know what the misunderstanding is? The misunderstanding is that you thought you could use my money to build a life with the woman you cheated on me with. The misunderstanding is that you thought I'd just let it go. She turned back to the crowd. One sentence, David. That's all it took to ruin your perfect day. She smiled. I canceled all the cards after the divorce, at his wedding with his mistress. Dead silence. Then Sarah turned and walked out. Emma scrambled to follow her. Oh my God, Sarah. That was insane. Was it good? Good. It was legendary. Did you see their faces? They got in Emma's car and drove away from the Langham. Behind them, chaos. Because what Sarah had done wasn't just cancel credit cards. She'd exposed David publicly. Made him look like a user, a leech, someone who'd lived off his wife's money and then cheated on her. And the wedding? The carefully planned celebration? It was falling apart. The DJ had already packed up. He hadn't been paid in full, and he wasn't working for free. The photographer was threatening to leave unless someone gave him cash immediately. The caterers were holding the wedding cake hostage until they got payment. David and Amanda were scrambling, calling family members, begging for money. Amanda's father was furious. He'd already paid for most of the wedding, he wasn't covering David's share too. Guests started leaving. Some quietly slipped out, embarrassed. Others made excuses. Early morning tomorrow. Babysitter needs us home. By 9:30 p.m., the reception was over. Not because it was planned that way, but because there was no music, no cake, and everyone felt too awkward to stay. David and Amanda's wedding night was spent fighting with vendors and trying to salvage what they could. And Sarah? Sarah went home, poured herself a glass of very expensive wine, and slept better than she had in months. Because she'd gotten her revenge. Publicly, devastatingly, perfectly. But the story wasn't over yet. The wedding became legendary overnight. Someone had recorded Sarah's speech on their phone and posted it to TikTok. Within 12 hours, it had 3 million views. She canceled all the cards after the divorce. At his wedding with his mistress became a viral sound. People were using it in their own revenge stories, in comedy sketches, in reaction videos. Sarah woke up the next morning to hundreds of notifications. Her social media was flooded with messages. "You're my hero. This is the best revenge I've ever seen. I wish I'd had your courage when my ex cheated. Queen behavior. But also, that was cruel and unnecessary. You embarrassed him in front of everyone he loves. 2 wrongs don't make a right. You're just bitter and petty." Sarah read through them all. Emma was furious when she read it. "He supported your career? He lived off your money. Let him tell his story. I know the truth." But other outlets picked up the story. Suddenly Sarah was being discussed on morning talk shows, on podcasts, in opinion columns. Was this woman justified in her revenge? When does standing up for yourself become cruelty? The complicated ethics of financial power in relationships. Some people defended Sarah. Feminist writers wrote about how women who earn more than their husbands often still end up being taken advantage of. About how cheating husbands expect their wives to just accept it and move on. But others condemned her. She could have canceled the cards quietly, one columnist wrote. Doing it at the wedding was performative cruelty. Sarah's mother called. "Alexandra, I saw the news. What were you thinking?" "Hi, Mom. That poor boy. His wedding was ruined. That poor boy cheated on me with his secretary." "I know, honey, but did you have to embarrass him like that?" "Yes, Mom. I did." "Why? What did it accomplish?" "It made me feel better." Her mother sighed. "I raised you better than this. You raised me to stand up for myself." That's what I did. 2 weeks after the wedding, Sarah got a letter from David's lawyer. David was suing her for intentional infliction of emotional distress and tortious interference with his marriage. Sarah laughed out loud. "He's suing me?" Catherine Walsh, still her lawyer, reviewed the lawsuit. "It's baseless. You can't torture someone by canceling your own credit cards. And you can't interfere with a marriage by attending a wedding you were invited to? This is ridiculous. Will it go anywhere? No. I'll file a motion to dismiss. It'll be thrown out within a month. But Sarah, it's going to cost him money to pursue this. Money he doesn't have. Good. Let him waste his money." The lawsuit was thrown out 3 weeks later. The judge literally said, "The plaintiff has no legal basis for these claims. Ms. Collins had every right to manage her own credit accounts and attend an event she was invited to." David was ordered to pay Sarah's legal fees, $15,000. "He can't afford that," Catherine noted. "I know. That's the point." Meanwhile, David and Amanda's marriage was already struggling. According to Sarah's private investigator, yes, she'd kept him on retainer. The couple was fighting constantly. Amanda blames David for the wedding disaster, the investigator reported. She says he should have told her he was using his ex-wife's credit cards. She feels humiliated. Is she leaving him? Not yet. But they're in counseling. Good, Sarah thought. Let them suffer. 3 months after the wedding, Sarah ran into David at a Starbucks. It was awkward. He was in line ahead of her. He ordered a plain coffee, the cheapest thing on the menu. He saw her. "Sarah, David, can we talk? Just for a minute. I don't think that's a good idea. Please. I need to say something." Sarah considered. "Fine. 5 minutes." They sat at a table in the corner. David looked tired. Older. He'd lost more weight. "How are you?" he asked. "I'm good. You?" "I've been better." He stirred his coffee, not looking at her. "I'm sorry. For everything. The cheating, the lying, all of it. You deserved better." "Yes, I did. What you did at the wedding. I was angry at first. I thought you were just trying to hurt me. But I get it now. You were trying to take back your power. I took advantage of you for years and didn't even realize it. You realized it. You just didn't care. You're right. I didn't. I got comfortable. I liked the life you gave me. And when Amanda paid attention to me, made me feel special, I was weak. I made terrible choices. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know that you were right. About everything. I did use you. I did take you for granted. And what you did, as much as it hurt, I deserved it. Sarah looked at him. He seemed sincere. But she felt nothing. No forgiveness, no anger. Just indifference. I hope you figure your life out, David. But I don't forgive you. And I don't want to be friends. This apology doesn't change anything. I know. I just needed you to hear it. Okay. Now I've heard it. Goodbye, David. She walked out, leaving him sitting there with his cheap coffee. 6 months after the wedding, Sarah got a call from Amanda. Sarah? It's Amanda. Please don't hang up. Sarah almost hung up. But curiosity won. What do you want? I need to talk to you. Woman to woman. Please. Can we meet for coffee? Why would I do that? Because I think we've both been hurt by the same man. And I think you were trying to warn me in your own way. Sarah was intrigued despite herself. One coffee. That's it. They met at a neutral coffee shop the next day. Amanda looked different than Sarah remembered. Less bubbly, less confident. She looked tired. Thank you for meeting me, Amanda said. What do you want? To apologize. For everything. For the affair, for stealing your husband, for everything. Why now? Amanda's eyes filled with tears. Because I'm living your life. And I finally understand. What does that mean? David's the same with me as he was with you. I thought it would be different, that I was special. But he's the same. He doesn't appreciate me. He takes me for granted. He expects me to pay for everything because I make more than him. You make more than him? I got a promotion. I'm a project manager now, making decent money. And suddenly, David doesn't have money for anything. I'm paying our rent, groceries, his car payment. Everything. Sarah couldn't help it, she laughed. So he found another woman to use. I didn't see it at the time. When we were having the affair, he made me feel special. Like I was the only one who understood him. But now I'm just the bank. And you're calling me why? Because you tried to warn me. At the wedding. You showed me who he really was. And I didn't listen. I thought you were just bitter. I was bitter. But I was also right. You were. About everything. Amanda wiped her eyes. I'm leaving him. Good. I just wanted you to know that. And to say I'm sorry. You didn't deserve what we did to you. Sarah looked at this woman, this girl really, who'd helped destroy her marriage. She should hate her. And part of her did. But mostly she felt pity. Amanda, take some advice. When you leave him, make sure everything is in your name only. Cancel any joint accounts. Change all your passwords. Protect yourself financially. Because David will try to take whatever he can. You think so? I know so. Trust me on this. Amanda nodded. Thank you. I know I don't deserve your help, but thank you. After Amanda left, Sarah sat there with her coffee thinking. David had done it again. Found a woman with money, used her, and now she was waking up to it. Sarah felt vindicated. Not happy, she didn't want Amanda to suffer. But vindicated. She'd been right all along. And her revenge? It hadn't just been about the wedding. It had been about showing David and everyone that he couldn't use people and get away with it. Mission accomplished. A year after the divorce, Sarah was thriving. She'd thrown herself into work even more than before. Made senior partner. Was being considered for the management committee. Her career was better than ever. But personally, she was still healing. You need to start dating, Emma insisted one night over wine. I'm not ready. It's been a year. Exactly. Only a year. That's not long enough. Sarah, you're 35. You're beautiful, successful, amazing. Don't let David steal any more of your time. I'm not. I don't trust my judgment anymore. I spent 12 years with David and didn't see who he really was. What if I make the same mistake again? You won't. Because now you know the warning signs. Emma set Sarah up on dates. 3 different guys over 3 months. All perfectly nice, successful, attractive. Sarah felt nothing. Maybe I'm broken, she told Emma. Maybe David broke something in me. You're not broken. You're just not ready. That's okay. What Sarah didn't tell anyone was that she'd been in therapy. Every week for the past 8 months. Working through the betrayal, the anger, the trust issues. You did something unusual, her therapist, Dr. Chen, said one session. Most people who experience betrayal either internalize it, blame themselves, or externalize it, seek immediate revenge and move on. You did something in between. What do you mean? You sought revenge, yes. But it was calculated. Strategic. You waited for the perfect moment. That takes a level of control most people don't have. Is that good or bad? Neither. It's just interesting. It suggests you needed control after feeling like you'd lost it when you discovered the affair. I did feel powerless. When I caught them, I felt like my whole life was a lie. And the revenge gave you power back. Yes, it did. So now the question is, what do you do with that power? Sarah thought about that question a lot. She'd gotten her revenge. She'd won. David's life was a mess, divorced again. Amanda filed 3 months after their wedding. Broke, living in a studio apartment, driving a used Honda. Meanwhile, Sarah had everything. The house, the career, the respect. But she was alone. And she was starting to realize that revenge, satisfying as it was, hadn't healed her. I don't regret what I did, she told Dr. Chin. But I also don't think it made me happy. What would make you happy? I don't know. I used to think it was the career, the success. But now, I don't know. 2 weeks later, Sarah was at a charity gala for her firm. Networking, schmoozing clients, the usual. She was talking to a potential client when someone bumped into her, spilling wine on her dress. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. A woman, early 40s, gorgeous, immediately dabbing at the stain with napkins. It's okay, Sarah assured her. No, it's not. This dress is Valentino. I just ruined it. Please, let me pay for the cleaning. Really, it's fine. I'm Rachel, by the way. Rachel Torres. Sarah Collins. Rachel's eyes widened. Sarah Collins? The Sarah Collins? From the wedding video. Sarah's stomach sank. You saw that? Are you kidding? Everyone saw that. You're legendary. Rachel laughed. What you did took serious guts. Thanks. I think. No, really. As someone who's also been cheated on, I respect it. Most of us just cry and eat ice cream. You went nuclear. Sarah laughed despite herself. Is that a good thing? The best thing. Can I buy you a drink to make up for the dress? They ended up talking for 2 hours. Rachel was a journalist, recently divorced, funny and warm and easy to talk to. What happened with your divorce? Sarah asked. Husband number 2 cheated with his personal trainer. Very cliché. I found out, divorced him, moved on. No dramatic revenge, just a clean break. You didn't want revenge? I wanted peace more than revenge. But everyone's different. For you, the revenge was clearly necessary. Was it? You tell me. Do you feel better? Sarah considered. Yes and no. I feel vindicated. But I don't feel healed. Then the healing is the next step. Revenge was step 1. Now you have to actually move forward. They exchanged numbers. Started meeting for coffee, then dinner, then became actual friends. Rachel was the first person who didn't judge Sarah for the wedding incident. Didn't think she'd gone too far or not far enough. Just accepted it as something Sarah had needed to do. You know what's funny? Rachel said one night. Men cheat on their wives and everyone says boys will be boys. But you get revenge and suddenly you're too harsh, too vindictive, too much. I've noticed that. It's because you had power and you used it. People, especially men, don't like when women have power. Maybe. But I don't regret it. Good. Never regret standing up for yourself. 18 months after the divorce, Sarah went on a date that actually felt promising. His name was Marcus. He was a criminal defense attorney, 38, divorced with no kids. Emma had set them up. They met for dinner at a nice Italian place. Marcus was attractive, well-dressed, articulate. So, he said after they'd ordered. I have to ask, are you the Sarah Collins? From the wedding video. Sarah sighed. Yes. Is that a problem? Are you kidding? That was the most badass thing I've ever seen. What you did took serious guts. You're the second person to say that recently. Because it's true. Your ex was using your money to fund his affair, and then his wedding. You had every right to cut him off. Some people think I went too far. Those people are wrong. You didn't physically hurt anyone. You didn't lie. You just stopped funding someone else's life. That's not revenge, that's boundaries. Sarah liked him immediately. They started dating. Slowly at first, coffee dates, dinners, walks in the park. Getting to know each other. Marcus was different from David. More confident, more successful in his own right. He didn't need Sarah to fund his lifestyle. They split checks, took turns planning dates, maintained independence. This is what a healthy relationship looks like, Emma said approvingly. Two whole people choosing to be together. It's nice, but I'm still scared. Of what? That I'll miss the signs again. That he'll turn out to be someone different than who he's pretending to be. Sarah, that fear is normal after betrayal. But you can't let David control your future. Marcus isn't David. Sarah knew Emma was right. But trust was hard after everything. 6 months into dating Marcus, he asked Sarah to move in with him. I'm not ready for that, she said. Okay. No pressure. Whenever you're ready. It's not about you. It's about me. I lived with David for 9 years and didn't know who he really was. I need time. I understand. Take all the time you need. The fact that he didn't push made Sarah trust him more. 2 years after the divorce, Sarah finally felt like herself again. She'd been promoted to the management committee at her firm. She was dating a man she actually trusted. She had good friends, a full life, hobbies she enjoyed. The wedding video still occasionally resurfaced online. Someone would find it and make it go viral again. But Sarah didn't care anymore. It was part of her story, but it didn't define her. One evening, Sarah got a call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello, Sarah? It's David. She hadn't heard his voice in almost 2 years. What do you want? I'm calling to tell you something. I'm moving. To California. Getting a fresh start. Good for you. I wanted to thank you. Thank me? For the wedding. For what you did. I was so angry at the time, but looking back, you forced me to confront who I'd become. The user, the leech. You held up a mirror, and I didn't like what I saw. David, I didn't do it to help you. I did it to hurt you. I know. But it helped anyway. I've spent the last 2 years in therapy, working on myself. I'm a better person now. And I wouldn't have changed if you hadn't destroyed my comfortable life. Sarah didn't know what to say. I'm not asking for forgiveness, David continued. I don't deserve that. I just wanted you to know that what you did, as brutal as it was necessary. At least for me. I hope California works out for you. Thanks. And Sarah, I hope you're happy. You deserve to be happy. He hung up. Sarah sat there, processing the call. David had thanked her. For ruining his wedding. For humiliating him publicly. Because it had forced him to change. She didn't know if she believed him. But it didn't matter. His growth, his change, his future. None of that was her responsibility anymore. What mattered was her own life. And for the first time in years, she was actually living it. 2 years after the wedding incident, Sarah had rebuilt her life. She had a thriving career, a healthy relationship with Marcus, and genuine happiness. David had called to thank her for forcing him to change. Now Sarah had to decide what closure actually looked like. 3 years after the divorce, Sarah married Marcus. It was a small ceremony, 30 people, in a garden, intimate and beautiful. Nothing like the wedding she'd planned with David. This was better. Real. Emma was her maid of honor. Rachel was a bridesmaid. Sarah's parents were there, finally understanding that Sarah deserved someone who valued her. You look happy, her mother said before the ceremony. Really happy. Not just pretending. I am happy, Mom. I'm sorry I didn't understand before. What you did at David's wedding. I thought it was cruel. But now I see you were just protecting yourself. Thank you for saying that. Marcus cried when he saw Sarah walking down the aisle. Real tears, from a man who genuinely loved her and wasn't afraid to show it. Their vows were simple but meaningful. Sarah, you are the strongest person I know, Marcus said. You've been through hell and came out the other side even better. I promise to never take you for granted, to always value what you bring to this partnership, and to love you for exactly who you are. Sarah's vows. Marcus, you taught me how to trust again. You showed me what a real partnership looks like, two equals choosing each other every day. I promise to always choose you, to always be honest with you, and to build a life with you that's ours alone. The reception was perfect. Good food, good music, people who actually loved them both. During her speech, Emma said, I've known Sarah for 15 years. I've seen her at her highest and her lowest. And I'm so glad that today is a new high. Marcus, you're a lucky man. But more importantly, you're a smart man who knows how lucky you are. Everyone laughed and applauded. No drama. No revenge plots. Just genuine celebration. That's what Sarah had wanted all along. Something real. A few weeks after the wedding, Sarah ran into Amanda at a coffee shop. Sarah. Hi. Congratulations on your wedding. I saw the photos on Facebook. Thanks. How are you? Good, actually. Really good. I'm engaged. Congratulations. His name is Robert. He's an engineer. Makes good money, treats me well. We're equals, you know? I pay my half, he pays his. I'm happy for you. I wanted to thank you again for warning me about David. It took me a while to really understand what you were trying to show me, but I get it now. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. You could have just walked away and let me figure it out on my own. But you didn't. You showed up and told the truth, even though it made you look vindictive. That took courage. Sarah smiled. I'm glad you found someone good. You too. Marcus seems great. They parted ways amicably. Not friends, but not enemies either. Just two women who'd both been hurt by the same man and survived. For years after the divorce, Sarah got unexpected news. David was getting married again. His third marriage. Emma called her immediately. Did you see? David's engaged. I saw. Are you okay? I'm fine. Actually, I'm happy for him. Really. I hope this one works out. I hope he's actually changed. You're very mature about this. I'm over it. David's not my problem anymore. He's just someone I used to know. And that was true. Sarah rarely thought about David anymore. When she did, it wasn't with anger or pain. Just indifference. The trauma had healed. The revenge had served its purpose. And now she'd moved on completely. Sarah and Marcus bought a house together, a beautiful Victorian in a nice neighborhood. They adopted a dog. They talked about maybe having kids someday. Sarah made senior partner at her firm, one of the youngest in the company's history. Her life was full and happy in hers. One day, a young associate at Sarah's firm came to her office. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. I saw that video. From your ex-husband's wedding. Everyone's seen it. And I'm going through something similar. My boyfriend's been using my money, taking advantage. I want to leave, but I'm scared. Scared of what? Of being alone. Of starting over. Of everyone thinking I failed. Sarah sat back. Leaving isn't failing. Staying with someone who doesn't value you, that's failing. Failing yourself. But what if I regret it? You won't regret standing up for yourself. You might regret how you do it. I went pretty nuclear with my revenge, but you won't regret leaving. Do you regret what you did? At the wedding. Sarah thought about it. No. Some people think I went too far. Maybe I did. But it was cathartic. It gave me power when I felt powerless. Would I do it again? Probably not. But I don't regret it. What would you do differently? I'd leave sooner. I wouldn't waste time trying to make it work with someone who clearly didn't value me. The revenge was satisfying, but the real victory was building a new life. The associate nodded. Thank you. That helps. After she left, Sarah thought about her own journey. From the devastation of finding David in bed with Amanda, to the calculated revenge at the wedding, to the healing and rebuilding. It had been a long road, but she'd made it. 5 years after the divorce, Sarah was invited to speak at a conference about women in law. During the question and answer, someone asked, "You're known for a very public incident involving your ex-husband. Do you think that hurt your career or helped it?" Sarah smiled. Honestly, neither. My career is based on my work, my skills, my dedication. Yes, I became viral for crashing my ex's wedding and exposing how he'd been using my money. Some people respected it, some people condemned it. But at the end of the day, it's just one moment in my life. But don't you worry about being defined by it? I'm not defined by it. I'm defined by what I built afterward. By the cases I've won, the clients I've helped, the life I've created. The wedding incident was 3 hours of one day. My career is 15 years and counting. I know which matters more. After the conference, a woman approached Sarah. I just wanted to say thank you. I saw your video years ago when I was in a similar situation. My husband was using my money while cheating on me. Seeing what you did gave me the courage to leave. I'm remarried now, happy, and in control of my own life. So thank you. I'm glad it helped. Can I ask, do you think what you did was revenge or justice? Sarah considered. I think it was both. And I think sometimes that's okay. Women are taught to be gracious, to forgive, to take the high road. But sometimes the high road means standing up for yourself, even if it looks ugly to other people. That night, Sarah went home to Marcus and their dog. They made dinner together, watched a movie, went to bed early because they both had work in the morning. It was ordinary, comfortable, real. And Sarah realized, this was the actual victory. Not the viral video. Not the public humiliation of David. But this, a normal Tuesday night with someone who loved her, in a home they built together, living a life she chose. The revenge had been satisfying. But this was happiness. That's Sarah's story. The story of a woman who caught her husband cheating, funded his entire life for years, and then took it all back in the most public way possible. Was she too harsh? Maybe. Was she justified? Absolutely. Because here's what Sarah learned. When someone betrays you, you get to decide how to respond. Some people take the high road and walk away quietly. Some people seek revenge. Neither choice is wrong if it's what you need to heal. Sarah chose revenge. One calculated, devastating sentence at her ex-husband's wedding. I canceled all the cards after the divorce, at his wedding with his mistress. And then she chose to move forward. To build a new life. To find real love. To become someone stronger than she'd been before. If you're going through something similar, if someone's using you, betraying you, taking advantage, know this, you deserve better. You deserve someone who values you. And you have every right to take back your power. Whether that looks like quiet dignity or public revenge is up to you. Just make sure that after the anger fades, you're building something better. What would you have done in Sarah's situation? Would you have gone to the wedding? Would you have exposed him publicly or handled it privately? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're new to Story Matrix Hub, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because every story here is about real people facing betrayal, making impossible choices, and finding their way through. Remember, the best revenge isn't destroying someone else. It's building a life so good that you forget they even existed. I'm Story Matrix Hub. Thanks for being here.